They wanted to close the case. They wanted to say, okay, we know who did it, and
yeah,
don't worry, there's not a killer running among us.
Yeah. And at the
so
same time, they're leaving two out there. You know, one who murdered Marie Iannuzzi and one who murdered Joan.
I do want to give our call-in number at this time. If you have any comments or if you have any questions, please feel free to call in. The number is 646-478-0982. So, Denny, are you still with us there, buddy?
I've been like a sponge here absorbing all this stuff.
It's a complex case. It is a very complex case.
Let me, if I could, Eve, ask you a couple of questions. I'd like to focus for a few minutes, if I could,
sure,
on your investigation, okay? For a couple of reasons. First, to help everyone understand exactly how we got to where we are today. We have some of our listeners who will be listening live and will listen to the show on archive who are going through a similar situation to yours, where they have a relative or a loved one or a close friend who has been murdered, and they're not satisfied with the status of the investigation or how the investigation by the police was handled, and maybe they can learn from you about some of the things you've done to try to find out the answers for yourself. When did you really get, maybe I want to use the description, full tilt, into investigating Joan's case? When did you decide that you really wanted to get to the bottom of what happened to her?
In 2006, I started to make a couple of inquiries and really got shut down and closed out by the district attorney's office out there, who is custodian of the files, basically saying it's an open case, sorry. Later in that year, later in 2006, I learned that Mr. Burke was writing a book about the case, and I got very upset by that. Number one, because the theory in the case had been turned down. He did not gain an indictment from the grand jury in 1983. And again in 1985, he really pressed to find something to, pin and attach Mr. Paradiso to Joan. And again, he did not succeed. I mean, this is not a plausible theory. At that point, because I was getting such resistance and getting resistance from authorities, and knew this book was coming out, the next thing I tried to do was speak to a lawyer to see if I could suppress the book. I couldn't do that. Freedom of speech. So I hired a lawyer and an investigator to help me go through and get freedom of information requests out. We've interviewed some people that are close to the case in different aspects, and all of a sudden certain things started to fall into place. We have accumulated an enormous amount, about thousands of pages of documents, official documents, newspaper articles, interviews that are very relevant because they involve key people. And the pieces, I mean, it got uglier and uglier the deeper I got into this, realizing that the real obstruction to getting to the truth in this case are the authorities. And the problem there is where does a regular person such as myself go? I mean, I'm sitting with a powder keg of information that is relevant in an open murder case, and getting blocked, frankly, trying to bring it forward. And now I'm doing everything I can to speak out. I've used the internet heavily. I've learned to use it pretty well, to try and find information and find people. And a lot of people, in doing that, in putting myself out there, I've also had a lot of people contact me who have been able to provide some very good information. I am on discussion boards. I've done some videos. I'm building a website that's in progress. It's constantly being updated because I'm adding and trying to make things available and trying to help it be clear. I've worked with a group of people on another website that we have that isn't that easy to follow, but we've been brainstorming and putting up documents and accumulating information jointly together to try and understand just what happened here, and why are the very people that should be helping find the truth the ones who are really blocking it.
Let me ask you, so I understand, as far as the family goes, you are kind of the lone voice out there. In other words, you're working independently with your investigator, your attorney, and so forth, but you are footing the bills and so forth for any effort?
I am footing the bills, and the family wants to take the position, perhaps, that they have believed this. I'm not sure what all they have seen. I know that I have documents now that they have not seen, and perhaps the parents are old enough now that they don't want to rehash it. I don't know. I don't want to speak for them.
Okay.
I know that the truth is important for me, and it's important for my children, Joan's nieces. They never had the opportunity to know her. She was an incredible young woman, and I want them to know her, and the truth is important. I look at myself more like a John Walsh. I'm not going to just be satisfied with to find out that things weren't truthful in that investigation, and things were not truthful in just serving up a scapegoat on a silver platter to explain away the case or to close it. That's not okay. That has put me in a position where I'm really reliving this case again, and it hurts probably more the second time around than the first time, if that's even possible, because the people we trusted weren't truthful.